Now think quick. If I said Gale Storm, would you say My Little Margie or Oh Susanna? Well, if you did, you'd be an early buff of early television, and that's who my guest is today, Gale Storm. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ellen. It's a pleasure to be here.
I was so excited when I learned you were going to be in town because My Little Margie was one show that I wouldn't miss. I loved that show.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. You turned out all right, too, didn't you?
No juvenile delinquency from
No.
watching My Little Margie.
No.
Was that a fun show to do?
Oh, it was just great. I just loved it. And you had to really love a lot to say you loved something that was that much work. Because those were, the days were, I didn't see daylight very often. You know, they'd open the cage up and let me look out at noon sometimes. But we started work so early in the morning and we never finished, you know, until very, very late.
Wait a minute.
So it was such hard work. But you had to really adore it, and I just did. It was
I thought
marvelous.
you were a glamorous TV star.
Oh, of
you mean you had to
course.
get up at 4 in the morning and work till
They tell me
midnight?
that's what I did, yes.
And how many days a week?
Well, at the beginning, we worked 6 days a week. Which was really a lot, because even whoever they are who changed things so that they're livable, it was during Margie that they changed and made it official that you could only work a 5-day week. And so that helped a lot. But it was still a lot to turn out.
Well, for all of our nostalgia buffs, you brought along a film clip. And so
Yes.
if we're ready to show it, we can all see a little bit of one of my favorite shows, My Little Margie.
Thank you.
Morning, honey.
Good morning, Daddy.
Margie, does the Board of Health know we're running a cafeteria?
You know what the doctor says. A hearty breakfast pulls you through the day.
Well, this bread will pull me from Monday through Friday. Well, what's that for?
Happy weekend, Daddy.
Margie, you're not fooling your old pappy. What's behind all this?
You better eat your waffles while they're hot.
Are you up to one of your old tricks?
What kind of jelly would you like? We have honey, strawberry, raspberry,
Well,
cherry,
are you?
orange, lemon, and lime.
Margie, stop that.
Here's the morning paper, Dad. Shall I open it to the sports or the financial page?
But I thought you said
Oh,
you...
never mind what you thought. If you want to read the paper at breakfast, it's perfectly all right with me.
Well, maybe a peek at the utilities.
Here's a piece of toast.
But you said I made noise when I ate toast.
Let me butter it for you.
What?
Well, the butter's kind of hard, and I wouldn't want you to strain yourself.
Margie, are you feeling all right?
I feel wonderful, perfectly wonderful. And I was just thinking how perfect it would be if you would take me with you to Mexico.
That's Margie for you. Always scheming, always plotting stuff on dear old Dad.
Oh, yes.
We'll be back in a moment and we'll talk about Oh Susanna, which was the forerunner of the Love Boat, sort of. Gale Storm is my guest, and if some of you younger generation out there thought that The Love Boat was the first show of its kind, you're wrong, because preceding The Love Boat was Oh Susanna, and the star of that show, Gale Storm. How did you go from My Little Margie, which was 1952 to 1956?
No, it was about 1955.
55.
Uh-huh.
And then you took a rest, but how long?
A quick year.
1 year.
Yes, uh-huh.
And then how did you come up with the idea for Oh, Susanna?
Well, of course, people give you credit for like thinking up the stories and things, and of course I didn't think up the stories. The writers did that, and a creator is the one who originated, a series. And with Susanna, when I finished Margie, I worked, which I'd established earlier. I worked so hard, and I loved every minute of it. But boy, it was hard work. And I said to my husband and to myself, and in general, I said, I am never going to do another series unless it's one I absolutely cannot resist. Well, that's when Oh, Susanna came up. One of the fellows who had written quite a bit for the Margie series came in to my husband's office when I was there. We'd planned a meeting, and he said he had a story idea for us that he wanted just to present to us. And so I'm saying, fine, that's good, and he came in with the Time magazine, and he took it and he turned it so it was backside up, and there was a big color advertisement. And it was about a luxury liner, and it just, you read those and you know how you want to go on a cruise immediately, if not sooner. And he said, and Gale would play the social director aboard ship, and you can go anywhere in the world and you can do anything, and well, that was something I couldn't resist. And then also he said that they had thought it would be wonderful also to have every third episode a musical. Well, that was bait I could never resist.
That was your touching point.
Oh yes, they did, give me an opportunity to sing, and I'm lost. I'm yours. And so you would never know it to watch the series at every third one, but to me that was just great fun, especially fun. So that's how. So we said yes immediately, if not sooner, and started in on that series on Oh, Susanna.
And your co-star was
Zesu Pitts. Most people wouldn't know how to pronounce it. That's the only thing she ever corrected people about, was the pronunciation of her name.
It was Zesu.
Yes. Yes, she
not
played,
Zazu.
It's Zesu.
Zesu.
Because she was named after two maiden aunts. It was very important that it be pronounced Zesu. And so we always did. She was just marvelous to work with her hands and the handkerchiefs waving. If you remember her work, or if you watch the reruns of Oh, Susanna, she's just a joy. Wonderful lady. And so funny. I used to... I get terribly, I'm not sure how couth I am, basically, but we would tease each other all the time, because when she'd get these long hankies waving in a scene, that's where everybody's eye goes, right to those hankies. So we'd kid back and forth, and I'd say, all right. I said, you're going to wave the hanky in this scene? I said, then I'm going to pick my nose in the next scene. And but we had such fun, and she's just a unique individual.
And a fine actress,
too.
Oh,
Yes. And I guess you have to love the people you work with on a series, because you work so close together and the hours are so long, and you're with them just like a family. And so if you didn't love them, it just wouldn't be a very happy show.
Well, you brought along a clip of Oh, Susanna.
Yes.
And we're going to see that wonderful Gale Storm smile, which is big enough for two oceans to fit inside.
Maybe I should have narrowed it down.
No, it's a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
And then we're going to see an early commercial that you did, which is kind of fun. And then we'll see a little bit of Oh, Susanna. So if we can see the clip, please.
I'll be with you in a moment.
The Gale Storm Show is presented by Lever Brothers' new all-purpose liquid detergent, Handy Andy. Cleans anything, anywhere, but won't scratch, dull, or wear. And Dove, the amazing new bath and beauty bar that creams your skin while you wash.
Ever discover something and then wonder how you ever got along without it? That's the way I feel about new Dove. Oh, I'll admit I thought soap was good enough until I tried Dove. What a difference. Dove never leaves your skin feeling drawn and tight after washing. Never dries your skin the way soap does. I'm told it's because Dove contains none of the alkali found in all soaps. So Dove is milder than soap can ever be. And wonderful new Dove is more than just mild. It's 1/4 cleansing cream. Yes, every bar of Dove is 1/4 rich, luxurious cleansing cream. Dove creams your skin while you wash. Leaves your hands, your face, your throat, all of you softer, smoother, even younger looking. So don't let another day go by. Get new Dove today. Use it when you wash and when you bathe. Oh, incidentally, notice that Dove lather. It's downright delicious. So do start using new Dove. You'll love it. It's good for your skin.
Hi, Paul. What's the captain want?
The old man sent for us, that's all I know.
Back on your haunches, man. It's just me.
Save your spines. Just another fellow slave. Please, I'm not the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, we didn't get to see Zazu Pitts in
Oh,
that, did we?
Zazu.
Zazu. Ooh,
I have to correct you on that.
Yes,
for her.
yes. Well, I was going to throw in that she came from St. Louis.
Now,
Now,
did
now
you?
talk about an obscure
I
fact.
didn't know that.
Yes, she was born in St. Louis, and my mother, every time she was on a movie or something, my mother would always say, she's from St. Louis.
Well, she could point with pride, too.
We-
And I don't know how I got past all those shows we did together and never found out she was from St.
From St. Louis.
Thank you,
Well, maybe
Ellen.
my mother's wrong, come to think of it.
Oh, never. Don't
Never.
say that.
Mothers
about
are
your
never wrong.
Mothers are, no. That was until I became a mother.
And you
I went through life just, doing as our kids told me I should do.
should do.
Yes, and they're very intelligent, fortunately.
We'll be right back with Gale Storm. You may not know this, but the Gale Storm show, the My Little Margie show, was a summer replacement for I Love Lucy. This is a personal question, but did you make money from those shows? I
That
asked.
is a very personal
I know,
question.
but listen, when you're an
I
interviewer,
can't
you get
show it to you, right? That's true. You can't you?
The reason I asked is because so many people who were in the early days of television ended up either with no residuals or short residuals.
Well, residuals lasted just a certain length of time. Excuse me, a certain length of time anyway. That would have been long gone, and I'm very grateful to say that I'll thank my husband because I'm no good with money or figures or things. You'll notice that about dates and things. I'm terrible when it comes to anything that's figures, but. The thing that he suggested that we should do was to ask for a percentage of
Smart man.
and that percentage doesn't stop, and so that worked out very nicely.
So every time there's a rerun,
Just keep those reruns coming in, or whatever.
just keep them a-coming. Speaking of your husband, how did you meet him?
Oh, well, that took a lot of doing. Now, you want me to tell you? Like, in order to tell you how I met him, I should tell you how I got started in show business.
Well, that's what I was expecting you to do.
I'll try to make that brief, and you'll have to stop me or tell me to cut something out because it's very difficult for me to tell it in just a few words. But I was in Houston, Texas. I was still in high school, and Lee, whom I did not know, Lee Bonnell, my husband, is from South Bend, Indiana, and he was going to Indiana University. And Jesse Lasky, this is I'm giving you a cast of characters. Jesse Lasky was a great producer in those days. And he was touring the United States with a promotional contest called Jesse Lasky's Gateway to Hollywood. And he went all over the United States and he got contestants or you competed in your own state, your own hometown, and then your own state. And if you won in your locale, a boy and a girl would win. Then that boy and girl would be brought to Hollywood for the final competition, which was a radio show. And it was a big radio show in those days. And so I was in. You had asked me if I had aspired for a career as an actress, and I never would have done that because it just looked too far away and too impossible for me. I was in school and I'd always loved dramatics in school, and I'd done well, and I would win contests and I would win Best Actress and things like that. So I'd done a lot of it just in school, non-professionally, of course. And so when the contest came to town, I had two school teachers, and they both came to me and said, "Joe," that's my maiden name. That's a whole new show if you want to know that. But anyway, they said, you ought to enter that contest because you're such a good little actress. And I said, oh, no, I couldn't. Anyway, I went on saying I couldn't, and they said I could, and so I did. And I won in Houston. where I was, which was a great shock to me, even to, to win, because I never expected to. But at any rate, another thing that the contest did, whoever won the contest won the name. The boy won the name of Terry Belmont, and the girl was to win the name of Gale Storm. So that's where I got that name. And the value of having the name selected first was that as they toured the United States, that was plugged. Those two names were plugged everywhere, and which was great, good PR work and public relations. And then when you were in the finals in Hollywood, then the radio show every week, it was on Sunday afternoon, that radio show would plug who will be the next Gale Storm and Terry Belmont. And so
wait a minute, don't tell us.
Oh,
Don't
no, I
tell
won't.
us.
I wouldn't think of it.
We have to pause for a commercial.
I'll pause.
It won't be a Dove soap commercial, but we'll be right back and we'll find out who will be Gale Storm. Whee! We left you finding out who the real Gale Storm would be, and here she is.
By golly, that's right. Now, did you want to know how?
Yeah, so you won in Texas, and now you're in
Yes,
Hollywood.
that's right, and I told you why the value of the
Yes, you told us that.
all right.
Okay.
Well,
but how did you
and we're
meet
now
this
in
handsome
Hollywood.
gentleman?
Oh, well, now there is a case of, and I say it in all sincerity and nothing funny about it, of love at first sight, because when I walked in, all of the contestants were brought out, to Hollywood, and so they took me over to where the rehearsals were being held, and it took me into a studio where everybody was standing around meeting everybody else. And I walked in, and I took one look at a young man who was reclining against a grand piano, and that was Lee Bonnell, I found out. But I took one look at him, and I said, "That's the man I'm going to marry." I didn't say it out loud, you understand.
No, it was a little...
This was all in my head, I said. And unfortunately, that was my feeling, but it didn't necessarily happen to him. He didn't even look at me, and if you think that's not sad, it wasn't really sad, because fortunately I had a plan that I had perfected in junior high school for how to get a fella. I really did, too.
Well, how do you get a fella? How do you get a
Well,
fella?
that's a whole nother story.
Oh, that's a whole nother
I mean, I'll
story.
have to do another episode of this before I'll tell you all those secrets. Those are expensive secrets, you see.
Okay,
You have to
okay.
give me 3 times for that. But anyway, I had that worked out, and it worked just as well as it always did in school. So I got him interested, and so by the time that contest was over, it was, I guess, a 13-week contest. Every Sunday was a big show, and we all competed and had the eliminations. And so by the time, well, before we ever got near to the final, where everyone was eliminated, with the final 2 winners, we were madly in love. I mean, madly in love. And which just made it wonderful,
And then both of you won.
Yes. That was very important, because my mother was with me, and she would have taken me right back to Houston if I hadn't won.
Oh.
I didn't expect to win, but I knew he was going to win. Anybody could take one look at him and know he was going to win.
So now, what happened to his career? We know what happened to yours.
For one thing about, just one quick thing about contests. Many contests are won, but you don't win anything. Well, this was an excellent contest, because you won a contract. We each won contract with RKO, and they could not drop our option. A contract, it's a 7-year contract.
Only as good as your option.
But that's right, those 6-month options that come up. But they could not drop our first 6-month option, or any option, until we had been used in a motion picture.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's pretty good,
Yes.
isn't it? And so anyway, Lee, he was with RKO for 7 years, taking 3.5 years out while he was in the Coast Guard, and I was there for that quick 6 months. They'd used me as a matter of fact, I played a 10-year-old girl in Tom Brown's School Days. That's why I had such trouble, appealing to him, because 10-year-old girls don't
no
they don't
sex
get instant
symbols, yeah.
attention, you see.
Yes. Well, we've only got 1 minute,
so where were
well, we were talking about what else did you win quickly? Besides that's it.
Other than winning my husband
and the
contest
contract and a lifelong marriage.
Yes.
And 4 wonderful
you
children.
You can't ask for much more than that now, can you?
No, you can't. Now, you know what? I'm sure everybody's out there, and they're saying, now, why in the world didn't she ask her about her commercials for the Raleigh Alcoholism Center?
Raleigh Hills Hospital.
Raleigh Hills.
Let's get it right.
Okay, okay. And why didn't she talk about the alcoholism? And we're going to, but they're going to have to tune in to the next show.
Yes, and I'm so glad you made it too, because there's so much to be said about that.
And Lee is going to join us
Yes.
for that show,
Yes.
and we're going to talk. This is going to be that will be a serious show. This was a fun one.
Yes.
That will be a serious one.
Yes, I'll say something on the next one.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
And you
Ellen.
stay tuned for the next show, whenever it will be.